I just realized that more self-improvement content isn't making you better. It's making you addicted to the feeling of being better. This might sound harsh, but after spending years consuming productivity videos, disciplined books, podcasts, and every life-changing habit on the internet, I realized something that completely changed the way I approach growth. Because for me, I wasn't improving, I was becoming a professional spectator. I knew more about discipline than disciplined people. I could even explain morning routines that I had never practiced. I could quote books I had never actually lived. And that's when I realized something dangerous. And that is, the self-improvement industry has created a new form of procrastination. One that feels productive and rewarding, which also convinces you that you're moving forward, yet in actual sense you're just standing still. And later on in this video, I'm going to explain to you one habit that kept me trapped in a circle for years. And it wasn't social media, it wasn't laziness, it was something far more than that. Now, I want you to imagine someone who wants to get in shape. And on Monday, they watch a video on discipline. The following day, they buy a new habit tracker. And on Wednesday, they spend an hour searching the perfect workout. Thursday, they're comparing protein powders. And on Friday, they watch another creator explaining why some other creator's advice is false. And just like that, a week has passed by. And the most interesting thing, they have not done even one single workout session. That might sound ridiculous, but then I want you to replace workout with business, or with studying, or with learning a new skill. And then suddenly, it will look just exactly like how millions of people live their lives today. You know, the internet has made information free, but it has also made attention extremely difficult. And this is what I usually call the attention tax. Because every new piece of advice demands a little more of your focus. And every productivity hack asks for another form of decision making. Every motivational video promises clarity while quietly stealing away the time you would spend building valuable work. And at the end, you realize that the greatest cause of distraction isn't time, but rather it's the life that you would have built with your time. Now here's the hard truth. Knowledge does not compound. It's applied knowledge that does. Because reading the same book without changing your behavior gives you the same life. But then applying one idea consistently can change the entire trajectory of your life. And this is when you realize that the internet does not reward application, but rather it rewards consumption. Because platforms make money when you watch the next video, and not when you close the app and disappear for 6 months building your life. So that's why you always find another video waiting, another framework, another morning routine, and another secret. Because the algorithm isn't asking whether you've changed, it's asking if you'll keep consuming. So here's the rule that changed everything for me. It's one piece of content, one action, and no exception. Because if you watch one video, you owe reality one action before watching another. Read a page, write a paragraph, exercise for 10 minutes, launch that ugly version, do something, because learning without action becomes entertainment. You know, years ago, I genuinely believed that I had a motivational problem. Every morning, I thought I'd watch one motivational video, or a speech, or even a quote. Because without it, I did not feel ready. Then one day, I noticed something. Motivation had become my coffee. Not because I needed energy, but just because I had trained myself to depend on it. And that's when I understood what now I call the dopamine gap. It's the gap between feeling inspired and becoming someone different. You know, every motivational hit gave me satisfaction before earning it. And my brain collected the reward before doing the work. And this made the work feel so hard. And this is the reason as to why you can finish an incredible podcast but still accomplish nothing. Not because you couldn't do anything, but because you've already experienced the emotional payoff. And because of this, the action suddenly feels unnecessary. Now, real growth is strangely boring. I know nobody wants to hear this, but it's the truth. You know, the people who are quietly changing their lives are not the ones who are chasing for excitement. They are just repeating simple action long after excitement has already disappeared. The fact is, the internet celebrates intensity, but then life rewards consistency. And I want you to know that these are two completely different games. So instead of asking, what should I learn next? Ask, what have I refused to practice? And I know that single question exposes almost all of our excuses. Because most of us aren't suffering from a lack of information. We are suffering from information obesity. Because we are constantly consuming, but then our movement is so little. Earlier, I had told you about that habit that kept me trapped. But before I come to it, just want to let you know that I'm on a goal of reaching 100 subscribers. I know you could contribute on this goal and help me reach it very fast by hitting the subscribe button. And with that said, this is the trap. I had started replacing action with preparation. I wasn't building confidence, I was collecting reasons to delay. For me, planning had become procrastination. Researching had become fear, and optimization had become avoidance. And then I realized that every hour preparing was secretly an hour trying to avoid failure. And this is when I created what I call the replacement principle. Every time you're about to consume another piece of self-improvement content, replace that urge with at least 5 minutes of uncomfortable action. Not 5 perfect minutes, but 5 messy minutes. Open that document, write the code, study the chapter, because your future doesn't care how inspired you felt, it only cares about the actions that you took. Now here's why most self-improvement content fail. It's not because it's wrong, but because it's incomplete. It will tell you what to do, but then it rarely forces you to become the person who has to do it. So I want you to learn this. Information changes your mind, but then identity changes your behavior. And then your behaviors change your life. So if your identity is someone who is always learning, then all you will do is consuming. But then if your identity becomes someone who executes, then everything changes. Because executors don't need another video every morning. All they need is uninterrupted time. They protect their attention. They accept boredom because they realize that progress is usually invisible until one day it isn't. So here's your challenge. When this video ends, I don't want you to watch another one. Don't open any productivity app. Don't search for another life-changing habit. I want you to take just one idea from this video, then spend the next 30 minutes applying it. All I want is you to protect your attention. I want you to close the gap between inspiration and execution, and also replace consuming with creating, because the people who rebuild their lives aren't the ones who know more. They are the ones who consistently act on what they already know. And I want you to become that person, because everything else gets easier after that.